Defense lawyer Peter Daubermann has brought in new entries in the case of rape-accused Pastor Omotoso and his co-accused Lusanda, Sulani and Zukiswa, Sitho at the High Court in Gqeberha in the Eastern Cape. Daubermann says that he wants Judge Irma Schoeman to allow the application to be granted, where he alleges that former state prosecutor Advocate Ntelwa summoned witnesses to commit perjury. SABC News reporter Lerato Fekisi is following the case. Please note that the following insert contains graphic descriptions and content.
We're still outside the Gqeberha High Court, where the case of rape-accused Pastor Timothy Omotoso and his two co-accused continues at Gqeberha High Court. This morning we heard from defense lawyer Peter Daubermann saying that he wants to make a new entry into this court, stating that he's going to prove how former state prosecutor Advocate Ntelwa has recused himself from this case, did suborn the witnesses to commit perjury. He started off by saying and taking us to the testimony of Malusha Gianni, where he states that initially when Malusha Gianni testified to the police and to also Advocate Fontaine, she stated that in her affidavit that Timothy Omotoso had inserted his fingers into the lips of her private part. But then a day after, when Fontaine sent an email to Advocate Ntelwa informing her of what Gianni had said, Ntelwa then said, let's not allow her to say that when she takes the witness stand, and said that she must rather say that Timothy Omotoso inserted his fingers into her private part, which would then constitute to rape. And then Daubermann said that the irregularities in the statement were, in one case she's saying that fingers were inserted into the lips of her private part, and then later she's persuaded, as he alleges, by Ntelwa to change her testimony and say that the fingers were inserted into her private part was irregularities on Advocate Ntelwa's part, and proof that Advocate Ntelwa did persuade Gianni to also commit perjury when she took oath at the witness stand. He was pushing this agenda a lot of the times and saying that also there was a lady by the name of Ms. Nsibi who had stated initially that Timothy Omotoso had stimulated her sexually in a hotel. Then when she took oath on the stand after meeting Ntelwa yet again, she changed her testimony to something else. So over and over again, what she was trying to prove at defense lawyer Peter Daubermann was to say that there is proof in this court case that Gianni was persuaded by Advocate Ntelwa to change her testimony, to give the testimony more weight by saying that fingers were inserted in a private part, to change the charge to rape, and not just inserting of a finger into lips of a private part, which would lessen the charge and make it seem as if he didn't do much, as I quote, to her sexually. And then Daubermann went against the issue of the WhatsApp group, which was formulated by Ntelwa, saying that this WhatsApp group was formulated by Advocate Ntelwa, which had all the witnesses as part of this group. And he was saying that he alleges that this group was also used as a tool for Advocate Ntelwa to persuade the witnesses to lie under oath when they took the witness stand. So on one hand, they'll testify something to the police and to Advocate Fontaine. Then once this WhatsApp group was formed, or they met Advocate Ntelwa, they would change their testimony to give their charges more weight because of agenda that he was trying to prove against Omotoso and his two co-accused. So Daubermann was pretty much trying to sum up his argument and place these new entries to state that over and over again, Advocate Ntelwa, who has recused himself from this case, there is instances and actually facts that Judge Irma Schoeman has admitted to herself that Advocate Ntelwa did try to persuade witnesses to commit perjury. And he was saying that if Advocate Ntelwa was successful to change Gianni's statement and persuade her to commit perjury, then surely he has done the same thing with other witnesses as well, which then renders this entire trial as a mistrial and renders it as irregular, and saying that there is no basis for this trial to stand, because if he could persuade one witness to commit perjury, then surely has done the same with others. And then he ended off his arguments by stating that it was the responsibility of Judge Irma Schoeman to bring Advocate Ntelwa to the stand before he was recused or even after, and ask him, is it true that the WhatsApp group was formed to persuade the witnesses to commit perjury? Is it true that he persuaded Gianni to change her statement into rape or to insertion of fingers into a private part, because the failure now to do that has led us to a case where there's so many irregularities surrounding Advocate Ntelwa what the alleges he did, and no one is there to answer for them. So he says that it was injustice for the state to come and change Gianni's statement and say that fingers were inserted into a private part when they knew that according to self-contained it wasn't the case. So Daubermann was really summing up his argument as saying that his entire case, there have been so many loopholes, so many irregularities which all form as injustice and a mistrial and injustice to his clients, which is Omotoso and his two co-accused.